I've spent thousands of dollars on real estate coaching over the years, and I'm going to let you know whether or not it's worth it. What's happening? I'm J.C Agajanian, broker associate with the Whissel Realty Group at eXp, bringing you the breakdown of the Monday morning mastermind as we do every week. And today we've got 3 great topics as usual. We're going to be talking about running online seminars. We're going to be having a frank conversation about whether or not it makes sense to pay for real estate coaching. And finally, we're going to be talking about how to get the most out of your Instagram Reels. So let's get straight into it. Online seminars. What are they? How do they work? And how can they help you? Well, first of all, they are just as it sounds. It's a seminar or a presentation similar to something you might do live and in person, but online. The cool thing about doing it online is that you can make the most of your time by replicating yourself in perpetuity. Basically, you can record your webinar and you can make that webinar available for people over and over again, and it will seem live if you use the right systems and tools available to you. One of those systems and tools that came highly recommended this morning by people who have lots of experience doing these sorts of things is called Webinar Jam. There were more than one people that spoke up and said it's gotta be the most premier, the best solution in the space. And it really can do it all for you. It'll do follow-ups, reminders, it'll record the clips, it'll create infinite replays. There's lots of tools where you can have it appear as though there's a new webinar coming up in the near future, depending on when someone hits your site. It offers a second presenter, so you can have a partner in creating this webinar. You can live stream it to multiple channels. It's just a whole system with everything built into one to allow you to really make the most of online webinars. In addition to the features the thing has, it also provides a ton of analytics as well for attendance, how long did people attend, times with best engagement. There's all kinds of information the system produces for you. And you can also, within the system, create not only slides to run through your presentation, but you can also create automated offers that lead people to the next step in whatever funnel that you're building for them. So whatever system you use, make sure that your presentation is solid. You've got to have it rehearsed, you've got to have it prepared, and you've got to have strategies for converting people into buyers or sellers, whatever your specific target is for this webinar. Of course, you're going to want to record it, and you can take this recorded video footage and edit it how you see fit. You can pull shorts and clips out of it for your social media. You can break the whole webinar down into smaller chunks, and you can make a YouTube playlist out of it. There's lots of options for the content that you're producing by creating this webinar. How are you going to drive traffic to it? Well, the tried and true email is a great one. If you have a good list you're working from, or if you acquire a list to drive traffic towards it, use any system like MailChimp or Sendinblue or something like that. In addition to that, of course, you're going to use social channels to drive traffic to this webinar, social media, posts, reels, stories, and most importantly, advertisements to drive people to that landing page of the webinar. What we haven't discussed so far is the specific type of content you might want to create in this webinar. Whenever doing any sort of online webinar, it is extremely important for you to niche down as narrow as possible for the audience that you're looking to speak to. So if you're looking to work with buyers, for example, instead of sellers in your area, what kind of buyers are you going to work with? Maybe you tell me I want to work with VA buyers. I'm a veteran myself and I relate to them. I'm not talking about me, this is for example. Well, okay, cool. So let's just not focus on buyers or VA buyers. Let's focus on VA buyers who are about to PCS out and get out. Well, that's a very specific niche, but if you get people to tune in, you know exactly who you're talking to and what message to deliver to them throughout the entire time you're giving this webinar and this presentation. So that's a huge message to remember. Be as specific as possible with who you are looking to reach and who you are looking to speak to so that you can custom cater that messaging, that communication, and the instruction that you're giving the people that you want to work with. Webinar Fuel is another layer of technology you can add to on top of whatever system you're using to make these webinars. It's pretty cool because it allows you to pre-filter and stage people as they come into your landing page, And if you've got more than one group of people you're trying to speak specifically to, it'll actually ask them some questions up front and then automatically send them to the right, very specific webinar that you've created for that audience. It also allows you to run split tests with different content, with different visuals, different sound, whatever changes you are trying to work on to optimize this presentation and make it as bulletproof and nailed down as possible. It'll allow you to do that, and then it'll give you the analytics back to tell you which one performed better. I've already mentioned a lot of tools and tech, and you could probably figure out how to piece lots of different free technology together, like maybe Zoom, Facebook Live, various recording things. But these systems, like Webinar Jam and StreamYard is actually another one that's probably a solid honorary mention. They just take the pain out of it. I mean, it's a big enough endeavor to really focus on the content, your message, who you're speaking to, and how you're going to convert them. Let's just take all the technical know-how out of the equation. I mean, there's still going to be a learning curve, but boy, this gets you up and over the majority of the hurdle in a hurry. So bite the bullet, pay the fee. If this is something you want to do, take advantage of one of these amazing systems that are plug and play for you. Similar to the subject of content, how you're going to present, what you're going to present, and how you're going to pitch and close in your webinar, we also have to be very concerned about timing. And what do I mean by that? People have a tendency of tuning out before the webinar or the event or whatever it is you're participating in is supposed to end. We are always going to be better off ending this thing early than going to our proposed end time, or worse yet, going over. We got to be very concerned and conscious of this because we don't want to lose their attention. One of the main purposes of running these webinars is to lead people down the funnel and get them to a purchasing decision or an attendance decision or whatever decision you're trying to get to sign up to a meeting with you. Whatever the goal is, you're trying to drive them towards that. And if they're beginning to tune out because they think this thing's starting to end and they're thinking about what may come next, what they've got scheduled in their day, you may have lost them already. So pitch halfway through your presentation and then pitch again at the end. And be aware that there may be questions and answers. And be aware that those questions and answers may throw you off your game and deter you from the message you're actually trying to communicate. So keep all this in mind when it comes to timing, because the worst thing you could do is get the majority of your information out, then run over or have questions sidetrack you and never get to actually pitch your value and present to them what you're asking them to do next. That's going to wrap us up on webinars, but we're going to move on to coaching conversations right now. Have you ever had a real estate coach? I have. I've had a few of them. So this conversation was basically someone raising their hand saying, I've had a really rough year. My production is in the toilet and I am deciding whether or not I should come up with money from nowhere, maybe on my credit card or something, to pay for a real estate coach to get me back on track. So we had a good conversation about that, and one of the first things that came up was the obvious, maybe not to everyone, but to a lot of us, is the concept of whether or not you're coachable. If you are, coaching will probably work. If you're not all that coachable, it's definitely not going to work. And if you don't know whether or not you're coachable, ask somebody close to you, maybe a spouse or a coworker. They'll let you know. Clarity is hugely important too. Do you really know what you're trying to accomplish? What gaps in your game you're trying to shore up? Where do you need the assistance? And which direction do you really want to take this thing? If you don't go into it knowing what you want to fix or where you need help, it's going to be difficult to decide if it's even worth it to hire the coach. If you do know what you're trying to accomplish, then make sure that you're looking for someone that can match those specific needs. Maybe they have extensive experience in this area, or they've helped people with that exact same thing over and over. Whatever the case may be, make sure that whoever it is that you hire, there's someone who's going to be able to speak to the specific needs that you've already identified. Now, when we talk about hiring coaches, sometimes the mere conversations that take place once every other week or once a month or once every week, depending on how much you want to pay, is the exposure to the ecosystems that you are a part of by joining this coaching network. There are tons of other benefits above and beyond the specific one-on-one coaching that you receive from a coach, and they are largely related to relationships, to contacts, to meeting and growing and learning from other people within the same ecosystem through online chats and, more importantly, in-person events. These are great ways to network and meet with people, and you are exposed to new ideas that you can then take back and maybe bounce off that coach and say, hey, I heard about this thing. Should we try and implement this? Is this something that will be a good fit for me and my business? The ecosystem in general, meeting people who are doing a lot better than you, figuring out what you can learn from and what you can take away from that is a huge part of coaching, and it's kind of intangible. It's not something that people talk about a lot, but new ideas, new ways to go about doing things are a nice side effect from being part of a large coaching organization. In the end, whether you're in real estate or any other industry, coaching for the most part is about paying for personal accountability. By this point, with the age of the internet, with where it is and how much information is just merely available if you search for it, most of these ideas are out there. There's probably new twists and turns and better ways and more efficient ways to go about doing things nowadays than there were several years ago. But for the most part, a lot of the fundamentals of building your real estate business is available if you're truly seeking it online. This mastermind that we participate in, for example, has a wider and deeper breadth of knowledge than the majority of any coaching ecosystems that I've been a part of, and I've been, like I said, a part of several of them. It's not just the information that you're looking for in hiring a coach. A lot of the time, it's personal accountability. If you are part of a large real estate team like I am, or if you're part of a large organization like the Fast Forward movement, where current, modern, forward-thinking innovation in real estate is being discussed freely and not withheld in a competitive sense, but actually shared with the effort to really help each other grow. If you've got that at your fingertips, you may not need a real estate coach. So if you don't have something like that available to you, seek it out. You might be able to get the same type of accountability from your peers and potentially even sales leaders at your company, or the same type of information from joining groups and masterminds like the one that we're a part of, and just not have to pay anything extra at all for it. So consider that as an alternative. I was a broker working on my own independently, and I joined a large team because of a lot of these things that we're talking about right here, and it's helped me greatly. That's going to wrap our conversation on coaching, and I'm happy to have a sidebar conversation anytime if you're interested in my personal experience and which individual coaches I've hired over the years. But now we're going to move on to talking about Instagram Reels. Reels are really the best way to reach people that don't already follow you on your account, right? Because the system is putting you in front of strangers because this is a reel and it's not just a story or a post for the people that are following you, right? So it's gonna help put you on people's radar. And then they're gonna go to your profile and they're gonna check it out and they're gonna see, what sort of information you've got under your face and your name, and then they're gonna see what are the 3 pins that you've posted, because you're sharing those as maybe the most interesting or important or fun or funny, whatever you've chosen those to post or to pin. And then they're probably gonna maybe check out some more of your recent content, possibly look at the most recent story you've got on there and decide whether or not to follow you. And this is all in a few seconds while they're quickly scrolling, looking, and the decision is in a split second, right? So just be aware that there's a bit of a funnel on social media the same way there is a funnel in a sales cycle when you're trying to meet someone to sell or buy their home. At this point, I hope it's evident, but it bears repeating: diversify your content. You've got to be sure to mix equal amounts of your family time, your hobbies, your activities, your interests, local focus clips, in addition to pure real estate content. We cannot be doing nothing but saying just sold, just listed, celebration for clients, look at my open house. People are not interested. They want to know what you do for work, and you want to make sure they know you're a real estate agent, but you are not one-dimensional, and your social media account should not look one-dimensional either. People are interested in working with other humans that they can relate to, that they know, that they like, and they build a trust for. And if all you do is have branded real estate content 24/7, you're not going to break through and build that relationship virtually online with people. If you're posting reels and you're adding things to stories, like a post of yours or a reel of yours to your story, consider starting off that day reposting something that's already really hot or popular. Maybe you come across a trending clip that you relate to or that resonates with you and you think it's funny and you already know that it's doing well. Send that one off first. You're going to get some eyeballs, and then if you repost your post to your story your reel, or post to your story your actual post, you're going to get better eyeballs because you started off with something that's already popular. So a little hot tip there for you. Of course, we always need to be sure to include trending audio clips. We need to keep these reels as short as possible. Throw in captions, be original, be personable, and your content will do well. Pay attention to the people who are creating content that you enjoy as well, and that might also speak to your clients and the people that you want to talk to. And then you can simply replicate, copy, or maybe be inspired by that post and make something similar on your own platform. I think more than anything else here, the important thing is consistency. This is probably the most important piece of the entire puzzle that we're putting together here, is just being regular and consistent with your posting, with your stories, with your reels. You've got to keep it up. You want to be like Tom Cruise famous to 50 people at least, to really grow a solid social presence and sphere business that's going to take place, that's going to materialize from the people that you encounter online. If you're not consistent, if you're not regularly putting up content all the time, you might just be forgotten. And that's the opposite of the whole point of all this. So there's great tools if this just seems overwhelming as well. You can subscribe to a service that will literally create content for you, and it's got a schedule laid out, and all you have to do is take it, maybe throw it into Canva, personalize it, throw your own branding, your own image in there, and just post and go. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to come up with the ideas. You just do it, and it's pretty cheap. And it's a great way to just, if you're worried about staying consistent and making sure it happens, doing something like this that may feel a little canned is going to be better than not doing anything at all. So check out Selling on Social as well. The overall goal really is to use the reels to bring people in. Like we said before, the reels are exposing you to people that are not following you already. And then you talk a lot on your posts, talk a lot on your stories, and these stories and posts can be boosted once you get these people that don't know you coming in, checking out your profile, and giving you a follow. A couple more tools that we'll share before we wrap things up. Opus Clip and Captions are two great pieces of software that will allow you to create reels, TikToks, shorts for YouTube, any just abbreviated clips from a long form piece of video. So think of maybe a podcast or something that you're just recording on your own to either look like a podcast or that you've got going on in office. You can take these longer videos, throw them into Opus Clip or Captions, and it will automatically give you some nice juicy clips to share on your socials. So keep that in mind as well. We have heard from a lot of people that just swear by one long form video, chopping that up and being done for the week or the several weeks, depending on how much content they can pull out of it. Another tip that is great if you're doing them one by one, but could be challenging if you're batching your content, is to actually edit the reel in Instagram if possible. The algorithm definitely favors people that are editing on the platform as opposed to editing on some other tool and then uploading it. But like I said, it's a lot more work to do it that way than using proper tools on a computer to do it. So overall though, it's a bit of a lofty goal, but the advice given to us was to try and get 1 to 2 reels out per day. And you're gonna have some first person speaking, you're gonna have some text on screen, you can use B-roll with trending sounds. There's lots of different things you can do, but the consistency and the volume of reels is what's gonna help you drive your social following and grow those followers as time goes by. So that's going to do it for today. We hope you have enjoyed the breakdown of the Monday Morning Mastermind as usual, covering online seminars, paying for real estate coaching, and of course, Instagram Reels. As usual, I hope you found something that you can not only learn and find interesting, but implement into your business and make money from it. And as usual, I would be happy to chat or answer any questions you may have. Send me a message right here. I look forward to talking to you soon.